In October of 1994, an extraterrestrial contactee by the name of Alex Collier sat down for an in-depth interview discussing wisdom he's acquired from the human race of the constellation Andromeda. This is his story.
Is there an Earth quarantine that the renegade Zeta Reticulans violated?
Yes.
And what was that quarantine?
The quarantine was they were supposed to, well, it's the same quarantine that evolves, that any other evolving planet has. No intervention with an evolving race. But because of our genetic stock, the Greys did it. Now, but they did it in such a way that they didn't totally violate our free will. You know, they dangled a technological carrot to the government. And the government took the bait. They said, sure, you know, for their own reasons, they took the bait. And there was an exchange of technology, you know, and there was a treaty that was signed. And this is a dilemma that the Andromedan Council has. You know, if the United States military had said, go away, the Greys would have had to have left.
So was this the Air Force Base situation or the Eisenhower situation where he had representatives? Is this the one that took place in the 50s?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And this was with the Long-Nosed Greys then?
That's true, and there were two groups there as well. The 7 from Sirius B, who are still here, were also witnesses to this, to add credence to it.
Okay.
So,
now,
and there are also, now just to add to this, the Andromedans have also said that in 1933, when the Greys really first got here, that they had actually approached the Germans, and the Germans said, no, you're out of here. We already have an agreement, and apparently the Germans were in touch with Giza intelligence. So the Greys left. They didn't pursue it at all. And they found their next opening here in the United States. And the fact that there's like no supportal government coming, supportal information coming out of our government, or any truth that they even want to discuss, like just coming to the people and saying, look, folks, we screwed up. We need your help. We need to raise a consciousness and start implementing. The fact that they don't even want to do that, you know, tells you really, you know, where they're at. What I do know about the Sirians is that between Sirius A and Sirius B, there is a civil war going on there. And a lot of that, and there are also 21 other systems. There's war going on in Perseus as we speak. And 21 other star systems are also looking at the potential. And it has to do with the fact that there is now an uplifting of energy in our universe that's occurring. And the two positives, fear and love, are just banging themselves at each other. And the intensity is growing. Is growing every single moment.
So
and we're just a microcosm of that.
Now, as you're disseminating all this information to us, we should look at all this information in the spirit of love, so we don't feed any energy into the spirit of fear.
Love is the answer. That's the bottom line. Love is the answer. Love does conquer all. Love does move mountains. It can make the shifts in consciousness, but it starts, number one, with ourselves. You know.
So
that's
even all this is going on around us, we just need to remember to focus on love and
love of self and love of Earth, love of race. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
When did the Zeta Reticulans begin to create their genetic atrocities? Where did this take place on Earth?
Well, it's occurring everywhere. Much of it is occurring underground. Some of it's occurring in the oceans. Some of it's occurring on the moon. Some of it's occurring on Phobos, the moon of Mars. It's happening in a lot of different places.
Is that an artificial moon?
Yes, it's absolutely. So's our moon. Our moon's artificial, completely artificial. It was brought here from Ursa Minor, apparently between 11 and 12,000 years ago.
For the purpose of?
Of being a satellite and a base, which, you know, they evacuated some time ago, but it's now being operational again. And I cover this in the series of 8. It came from a star system called Chata. That's for a word. That's the word they use, Chata. And it was the 17th planet out of a solar system that had 21 planets, and it was one of 4 moons. And it was brought here. It is older than the Earth. There are ruins all over it. There are bases underneath it. It's everything that we're told it isn't. So that's a whole unique story unto itself. Well, the Greys are trying to create a sub-race that is a blend between human culture the human race and their race.
A kind of a hybrid sit.
Exactly. They're not being very, very successful. And one of the things that they're trying to do is they're really looking for the soul. They don't understand the soul. They don't understand our extremes of emotions as well, because they're very, very different from us.
How are the renegade Zeta Reticulans able to manipulate Earth's most powerful governments into a position of checkmate?
Oh, it's easy. That part was really easy. Number one, their technology is 2,500 years more ahead of us. Number two, because of our greed factor, certain groups of power elite are in touch with them on a physical level. Well, many of them are implanted. Many of them are so implanted that they have now become part of the gray group mind. And the Andromedans no longer consider some of these human beings, Terrans as they call us, human at all anymore. They're nothing but clones for what the Greys want. And they pass down orders, they tell others what to do, and of course the chain of command that we've established on our planet is exactly what's happening. Also, playing on the greed factor, those who are still human, they look at the fact that, well, they're here, they're the rulers, you know, we can still maintain our place of privilege in the world, so we'll form the new priesthood. We'll be the go-between between the workers and the gods, just like we saw in Babylon, in Assyria, Egypt. It's all over again. It's history repeating itself all over again.
Because it's the control factor, the hierarchy is the established mode for these negative civilizations to keep their power structure intact.
That's right.
Okay.
You know, and it's another thing, and there's also one more factor. It is about human beings out for power, selling out their own race.
The World Club.
Just selling out the rest of us, the human race, for their moment in glory, for their privilege to be with the gods, so to speak, who are aliens. That's what it is. To have technology that can take them to the moon, to have the technology that can take them to Mars, that will give them the technology to do time travel. They totally sold out a race, our history, everything, for their brief moment in the sun.
Now,
Pisses me off.
I'm sure when they look back on their lives afterward, I would assume that they would regret their choice.
I don't know. I don't know.
Are the renegade Zeta Reticulans going to try to deceive humanity with an elaborate religious event they are staging?
The perceived second coming, yes. I have been told to really beware of that they are very capable of playing out the second coming, creating a clone who will look like the image on the Shroud of Turin, which, by the way, was one of their deals. And this soul will have holographic imprints and information regarding all the world's religions. He won't have a soul. And yes, I mean, we've been led down this path of the book of Revelations, that this is God's word. This is the way it has to happen. And you know what? God didn't write the Bible. Man wrote the Bible. Period. ETs didn't write the Bible, but some ETs did tell those souls, those men, what to write. And we have been led down this path where we totally will succumb our free will to become subservient. And I'm not here to offend anybody, but really think about it. Really think about, you know, what we've done and what our history has been. You know, we've been to this place so many times before, and we still haven't gotten it right. You know, and we're still not going to get it right unless we do it as a race and just cut out all the crap. Period.
Now, that leads me, I'm going to jump a question. Do they have control of the world media?
Oh, greed does. Greed does.
But a lot of the
I don't know if it's them themselves. Well, the programming is being introduced, and it is mankind that is introducing it to the masses. So
it's the people that are selling out.
That's it. It's the new priesthood.
Okay.
You know, that's where the responsibility lies.
Now, in that passion that you talk with right there, that passion that we have, if we want to break free, should be manifested into the spirit of love?
Yeah, love. That's the bottom line. It's brotherhood. It's knowing that, hey, you know, we're a race. It doesn't matter the color of our skin. We are a race. And we're being messed with in a big way. We're being manipulated in an incredibly audacious way. They're just mocking how stupid we are when we're really not stupid. You know, but nobody will tell the truth. Nobody will come out and say, hey, you know, none of this is right. We would have never meant to live this way. And they had no right to come down here and mess with us the way they've done that. You know, and the real strength in us, in our own permanent evolvement as a race, will come from us standing up, taking a stand and saying, you know what? No way. We're not going to do this. We're not going to destroy ourselves for your enjoyment so you can feed off of us. You know, you had no right to manipulate our governments, you know, to create wars. None of this was right. And that's it. We need to stand up as a race, exercise our free will and say, you know what? We don't want to live this way anymore. We want to create a real future where our kids will have an opportunity to be whatever they want, to live in an environment that's clean, that's free, where they can have water to drink, where they can go out and eat fruit, where they can play in the dirt without getting radioactively toxic. All of this stuff that we're doing to ourselves.
So the people with weapons, the police, the military people, these people need to be persuaded and persuade themselves that they can lay down their weapons, that they don't need to use them against other human beings, that they can love other human beings, interact with them without a violent or power control type of situation going on.
I'm not saying that there aren't some human beings here that definitely don't have some serious problems. I'm not saying that at all. There are some who do. But the bottom line is, when you look at the whole picture and you go up the ladder, okay, we are not the enemy. The enemy isn't human at all. But it's pushing all our buttons so that we're so busy looking at each other and so neurotic about each other that we're not looking at the real reality here, the real cause, which is another race or races that are here who are totally playing games with us, feeding off our energy, and hoping that we destroy ourselves so that they can keep the planet for themselves.
And really, let's say who it is again. It's the Orion group.
It's the Orion group. It's a group that is on its way here now from Alpha Draconis. They're the real culprits behind this whole deal.
Alpha Draconis or Orion or both those?
Alpha Draconis. They're the real culprits behind this whole thing.
Above the Orion group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
then there's Orion. Then there's Orion, the Orion group. Then you've got the Greys.
And where did the Giza intelligence fit in here?
They were just a group that were totally independent, that came in and did their own thing. They were perceived as gods, and they played the role out. And they got stuck in it. You know, they got stuck in the ego part of it. We're gods, we can do this, we have all this technology, and they just played it out for all that it was worth.
Okay.
To be honest with you, at this point, they're not really much of a factor anymore. You know, Giza intelligence, they're not much of a factor at all anymore.
What should a human being do if they encounter a renegade Zeta Reticulan? What would your advice be?
Stand in their truth. If you can't run, stand in your truth and just look at them. If they try to project their thoughts into your head, you just stand firm with who you are and you say, no, you are not coming into my head. You are not taking me over, and you are not going to violate my free will. I don't give a damn who you are. Leave me alone. Period. Because if it's a benevolent, they will not try to do it. They will not try to take you over. They will not try to put crap into your head so they can feed off of your fear. Period.
All right. Excellent. We'll go to the Alpha Draconis.
Can we take a short time out?
Oh, definitely.
Thank you. You know, Rick, there's something else I want to stress here, and that is, and this is something that the Andromedans have really stressed. There is no race any better than us. Just because they're different, just because they're more evolved, doesn't mean that they're better. We are equal. We're just not maybe as aware as they are. But that doesn't mean that any race is any better or any less. In fact, we're all equul.
So we should not worship anybody?
Hell, no. Absolutely not. That's how we got into this mess in the first place. Right. If you want to worship somebody, worship the God within you. That's it. Worship no one else. And if you're going to have a tyrant in your life, let it be that part of you that's critical of you. Let that be your only tyrant. Don't give anybody else any power outside of your physical form to be a tyrant, to control you, or manipulate you in any way. Be yourself. Because if you are yourself, you're a part of God, and that part of you knows what to do. It knows the right way to live. And, you know, and this is really interesting. Because of our genetic makeup, the 22 different races and all of the DNA and the racial memories that we have and the genetics that we have, because of the fact that we are spirit, do you know, and this is an incredible thing, do you know that the Andromedans actually consider us royalty? They consider us royalty. We obviously aren't acting like royalty, but we're the only ones in our galaxy that can make the claim to having the genetics that we have and the possibilities and the capabilities of doing what we can do as a race. We're the only ones. They actually consider every single one of us royalty. Now, think about that.
I guess all beings that would try and be spiritual and raise their spirituality in essence would be royalty.
Yes, I suppose that's true.